Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today I have the honor and pleasure of having my great friend, Mr. Jack Bosch. Jack, how have you been, brother?
I've been fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Jack, I don't know if I ever told you this, but maybe I did. But when I was first getting started in getting to know who the people in real estate were, okay, because I started in real estate in 2008. But I didn't have a mentors or anything like that. I started kind of winging it, and doing it myself, which is not something I recommend anybody listening to this. Go find a mentor. It will save you a lot of headaches and hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more. My business partner at the time, shout out to Jose Zavala, he was a fan of yours. And he will tell me, Ricardo, we have to go do land, man. And I was like, I don't know. There's nothing. It doesn't excite me. There's no backsplash. There's no changing the roof or the foundation. And he's like, but he makes it seem so easy, right? And we bought your course at the time. This is in 2000, maybe 14, 13. You had a course out and I bought it. I watched it. I just couldn't get excited about it. But now I get excited about it for multiple other reasons. But I will let you talk about that, Jack. So, first of all, man,
I'm curious to see why you're excited now. What changed your heart? Because, but we can talk about that. Yes.
Yeah. But it's simple, Jack. Now I can flip contracts on land, and I don't have to worry about showings. I don't have to worry about going and signing on a loan to, I don't know, fix and flip and to put a backsplash. So at the beginning, when I was first getting started in real estate, I had that dream of, I got a house or a property that's in bad shape, and now I'm turning it into something magnificent, right? So the only thing you can do with land is build on it, and then you turn it into something different, magnificent. But I wasn't thinking as a builder; I was thinking more as a rehabber. So for that reason, I didn't care for land. But now
you scratched your itch, right? You scratched your itch. You had an itch that you wanted to build something. You wanted to see the before and after. You wanted to see how it all looks like. And you wanted to have that pride of thing, which I fully get. I've only wholesaled a few houses, which came along in between the land deals we did. We got to come across a couple of houses. And I wholesaled it to a friend of mine who then fixed it up. And I walked through the house afterwards. And I was proud because I saw the crap shot of house it was before with garbage cans everywhere and garbage bags and rats and people living in filth. And afterwards, it was the gem of the neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, I can totally see how people are totally excited about house flipping because it just fills you up with so much pride to see something look beautiful afterwards. Compared to that, land is boring. But I would like to go with Warren Buffett. With Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people in the world, he basically says, in business, you don't want excitement. You want boring in business. Excitement in business is typically not a good thing. If there's excitement, if there's something stress or something, it's because something doesn't go according to plan, right? So if everything goes according to plan, business should be boring. And that's what I love about land because it's basically everything goes along plan. There's almost no risk. You can back out of the deals anytime. You never put your money at risk. You don't sign for loans. You don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. And it's just simply a method to make money. And you're still in real estate. You still get the excitement of the deal. You get excitement of the hunt. You get excitement when that check arrives or that wire hits for whatever number of dollars, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. So you get all this adrenaline things, but you don't get all the negative excitement with it.
And I learned that, I guess, just a few years ago, right? Because you're right. I had an itch. My itch was the challenges, right? Every property had a challenge. But you mentioned something very important, which is business needs to be boring. If it is exciting, it's because there is a level of risk high enough to get your adrenaline going, right?
Yeah.
And when I was flipping houses at a scale, I was doing a lot of fix and flips. I think at the highest was 47 flips at a time. Our houses were boring. They were boring because it was all the same, Jack. It was the same paint, the same cabinets, the same. I had a warehouse where basically my guys just will come in, grab the materials, take it back to a property. And I never took pictures of these houses because they all looked the same. They all did. There was no difference. That like it was the same. I still remember the name of the granite was the Luna Gray. So it was the Luna Gray, and then the white cabinets, and so later on in life, I started doing some wholesale deals on land, and they were in the middle of nowhere, and I was making 20 grand, 30 grand, and I was like, how is this possible? This piece of land was a lot easier because I didn't have to show it. Basically, what are they going to do? Drive
No.
by and see a bunch of either grass or
And,
wheat or
and in
plants.
today's world, it's even easier. Like back in the days, we had to literally send people turn by turn instructions. I'm talking 23 years ago when iPhones did not exist yet, smartphones did not exist yet. We sent people instructions by email. They printed them out and they followed them. It's like on this intersection, when it's turn left, then turn right, then go 300 feet until you see this bush, and then you're at the property. Today, we just send them the GPS coordinates. If it's truly in the middle of nowhere and it doesn't have an actual address, we just send them the exact GPS coordinates. They just plug it into their phone and they have their GPS drive them right to the property if they want to see it. We don't have to show it. I think in my life, I showed one piece of land out of thousands that we've done.
You've done thousands, and you've also helped thousands of people acquire land and wholesale land, which we'll get into it in a minute. But so you did those houses back then, and you sold it to your friends, and then you were like, okay, cool. I'm proud that they fixed it up, and it's a nice looking property that now is going to have a new owner or whatnot. And then you did the land. Like, why stick to land? Like, why not go do houses or maybe well, you do commercial real estate also, but that's different. That's an investment for you more than anything else. But why did you stick with the land? Is I guess is my main question.
Very simply, once you figure something out that works, focus on it. The moment you start doing three different things, your focus gets lost, and all three are being done mediocre. So when we figured out land, that's all we knew. We had failed in house flipping. Like we tried to fix and flip a house and nobody was giving us money because the numbers were all wrong on the property and the purchase price was wrong and so on. We tried to wholesale a house and we got it again wrong because we didn't know how to estimate repairs and things like that. When we found land, our first piece of land was a $10,000 piece of land in a rural subdivision between two houses on a dirt road and with utilities to it. But the seller went through a divorce, didn't want it anymore, and he gave it to us for $400. All I needed to figure out is two things. Number one, how do I value the land? And we can talk about that. And number two is, how do I sell the land? Which in this case, the neighbor came across the street and bought the property from us right on the spot for 10x what we bought it for. We got it for $400, sold it to him for $4,000. Obviously, it's a tiny deal, but it was a confidence builder deal because it was the first one. So once we realized that in land, you actually don't need to know how to fix and flip anything, how to really do hardcore negotiation. You do need to negotiate sometimes, but you not need to negotiate really sophisticatedly usually. We didn't have to know about repairs of kitchen, bathrooms, foundation, roofs, any kind of that stuff. We didn't have to know where to buy or stuff, how to go to Home Depot. I haven't been to Home Depot in 10 years, right? And so once we realized that we really only needed to know those two things, then and how to get the deals, of course, which is the third part, we just put the blinders on. And we just basically says like, after we had done 3 or 4 or 5 deals in a matter of like a month and a half, and made like almost like $100,000 in like 8 weeks, we're like, okay, this is more than I just made in a year in my job. I'm doing this part-time. And in my case, I had to wait a little bit to be able to do it full-time because I was on H-1B immigration visa. I'm from Germany. So once the green card was there, which happened to come just like 6 months later, we went full in and we just simply said, this works. There's no need to learn anything else. We just put the blinders on and let's go. And we built that into an 8-figure business in 3 years. And then we do other things. But he rehabbed actually like something like 40 houses. But those are buy and holds. We just spent $3 million into an apartment complex that we rehabbed because it was hit by a hurricane, but that's a buy and hold. Right? So we basically, what we do, and that's the other thing, we realized we need a cash machine. And I think everyone needs a cash machine. And you cannot really rely on your job. Your job is there to pay the bills and give you that kind of peace of mind that you can go somewhere next week and you'll get another paycheck by the end of the week or twice a month or whatever often you get paid. But outside of that is where you need to build your cash machine. And we realized that. So we built this as a cash machine part-time. Then it became full-time. Then it blew up into wealth. And then we realized that now we're sitting on a pile of money. Well, what are we going to do with that pile of money? We realized if we sit on a pile of money, it gets eaten up by inflation. It gets eaten up by other things, by taxes. If you think so, let's move it into multifamily or single family first, then multifamily, industrial, commercial, and now we own 600 apartment units of rental houses and so on. But this is not to fix and flip. This is to hold. So we basically, the reason we didn't start anything else is start multiple things is that it would have distracted us from what we know can generate 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 like clockwork. And then we just simply took that money and then invested in other things that now has made us generationally financially free.
Wow, amazing. So let's talk about land, right? So that's your core, that's your bread and butter, and you educate thousands of people on that, actually around the world, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. Well, our focus is in the U.S., but since I'm from Germany, word has gotten around in Germany that I do this, or that my wife and I do this, that we do this. So I've gotten invited to speak at some conferences in Germany. Actually, the largest conference I ever spoke was in front of 1,000 people in Germany. And I've gotten to, I did one live event in Germany one time, and I gotten on a bunch of podcasts and things like that. So we have a constant stream of people from Europe now wanting to do this in the US, and they're actually very successful. Just earlier this month, one of our students from Germany, Carrie is her name, she ended up getting a deal on a piece of land on a contract for $680,000, selling it for $900,000, and making, after all costs and realtors and everything included and back taxes, she made $156,000 on that deal. So that while she is in Germany, she does that from Germany in the United States virtually. Because again, with land, you don't have to go visit it. You don't have to inspect it. You don't have to look under the hood because there's no hood. So you don't have to look under the roof. You don't have to inspect the roof or foundation or anything like that. All you need to do is figure out what is that thing worth. In that case, that thing was worth $1.5 million. She got it as a bargain from a gentleman that just basically says, you know what? I want to get rid of it. I want to settle my affairs. I want to distribute the money to my kids. My kids don't want the property. So he accepted that property and that deal. And she hired a really good realtor in the area. And the first offer they took was for $900,000. 2 weeks later, they got offers for $1.2 million. So if they would have held out a little bit more, she would have made like should have made $500,000 on that deal. Oh well, $156,000 is still good.
It's a pretty good payday. Now, what are the legalities? Let's say I'm not talking about her specifically, but somebody from Germany that wants to start this business, right? They go watch your course, they learn the ins and outs and all of that. Do they have to create an LLC here? Do they get an EIN number? How does that work? Because I know that the title company is going to require for documents and things of that nature. They're just not going to send a check to the girl in Germany just like that, right? So what are the steps legally that people listening from overseas need to do so they can be compliant?
Yeah. So theoretically, or actually in reality, you don't really need anything, but it's recommendable that you have an LLC. So legally, you don't. That's what I mean. Legally, you don't need anything. So technically, this girl could have sent the letters out in her own name, gotten the deal on the contract in her own name, signed that thing in her own name, just with like a notary seal from Germany. It's called like either at the embassy or find an American notary, or there's also a special apostille that you can get for $20, and then that's accepted in the U.S. But then the U.S. title company would actually hold back 25% of her profits for taxes and send her only 75% of the profit. So the better way to do this is actually, but legally she doesn't have to have a entity in the United States at all. You could be everything done in her own name. But that's not the smart way to do this. So the smart way to do this is actually that you do set up an LLC in the US. For example, our international students, we have put them together with a company in Germany or in Europe that specializes on getting Europeans set up in the United States. They know all the rules and all the laws. So they pay them a small fee, like $1,500, and they go for that. They set up a Wyoming LLC or a Florida LLC or a whatever other different like advantageous LLCs. They set up the bank account for them. They set up all these different things, and then they operate from Germany, but under the name of their American LLC. And then everything happens because now the LLC puts the property under contract. The LLC signs the real estate agreement with a realtor. The LLC sells the property. The LLC makes the money. It's no difference than you or I doing the deal here in the United States, only that the owner of the LLC sits in Germany. So once that LLC files its taxes and everything is done, then depending on how it's taxed, it flows to Germany, and there's a double taxation agreement between Germany and the US that she doesn't get double taxed, and it's all fine, it's all good. So it's very uncomplicated. Costs like for about $1,500, somebody can set this up from the outside in the United States professionally.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what I do, right? So my office is in Venezuela, and all my guys are there, and they're negotiating properties here left and right. So I just happen to own the LLC here, and everything goes through there. But it's all being done from overseas. Now, what are the things that you look for on a land deal, Jack? Like, what is the avatar? What does this piece of land need to look like for somebody to say, maybe I have a deal on my hands?
So we used to focus on three kinds of pieces of land. Now we added the fourth one. The three pieces of land is number one, infill lots. So in the city, 35 houses on the street, one empty lot, ready to be filled in. That's the word, infill lot. And so we like to sell those to builders. Builders, even in today's market, when there are some markets, prices are going down and so on, but they're going down from a high level. Like they're going from 500 to 450. That's still enough for a builder to buy the lot and build a house. Right. And so builders are still building and so on. So we sell those kind of property. Infill lots we love to sell to builders. The second kind of property is in the path of growth. So outside of bigger cities, outside of Houston, outside of Dallas, outside of Phoenix, outside of Denver, Colorado, outside of Miami, outside of Tampa. There's like really great, and we sell those to two kind of buyers. The first buyer is a future retiree, somebody that just realizes they don't have enough saved up for retirement, but they can't afford to rent an apartment for $2,000 in the city when their Social Security is going to be $1,600. So they're buying right now a piece of land outside of town, and then 10, 15 years from now, when they're ready to retire, they're getting a mobile home on there or a double wide or something that they get inexpensive use. And perhaps for $50,000 total, they have or $60,000 total, they have a place that's paid off and that they have a dignified retirement. And the second people are actually the ones responsible for putting this market on fire in the last 5 years. Like land since COVID has been freaking on fire. And in that particular niche of the market in the outskirts of town, it's the stay-at-home workers. Now you work from home, right? You can be in Venezuela. I work from home. Actually, after COVID, everyone went home, even though 2/3 of people went back. 1/3, meaning 50 million Americans, still work from home. And they that work from home, they can now work wherever they want to be. They don't have to live in the cookie cutter neighborhood. They don't have to live next to the office. They don't have to commute anymore. So many people don't want to live in the cookie cutter neighborhood. They want their own 2 to 5 acre parcel just outside of town, where they have chickens and a garden and perhaps some goats or whatever, or a horse, but if they need to, they can commute into town once a week. Like even my attorney, I work with one of our attorneys every once in a while when we need something. He charges $900 an hour. It's one of the top attorneys probably in the state of Arizona, probably one of the top attorneys in the U.S. He bought himself a place on Maui, Hawaii now. Right? And he operates from there. He spends half of the year there. It's an empty nester. And the same thing, like you can be in Maui, Hawaii and work in Arizona as a lawyer. He just gets up at 4 a.m, and then at 4:30, he gets on his laptop at 5, which is 8 a.m. over here. The same thing, you can be in the outskirts of town, but even if he's in Phoenix, he works from home and only goes to the office once a week. That means he could live an hour away. and then walk into town. So that really has that land space has become really sexy for people that have money, that have good jobs, and they just want a couple of acres outside of town to build their dream home and just have a peaceful life and work from home, but not be in the middle of nowhere. Because when they want to go to a ball game, to the birthday party, to a restaurant, they can just simply drive 20, 30 minutes and they're in town. The third kind of property we focus on is larger acreage, which I call mini ranches. Again, with COVID, I mean, who doesn't want their own ranch? Like who would love to have, like, there's so many people, millions of people would love to have their own weekend getaway, their own ranch. And again, since they're just around for the last 5-6 years, Starlink has come up. Like, I've heard of Starlink, obviously the satellite dish. Starlink has come up, and with Starlink now, these more remote places are 100% connected to the internet, and that wasn't the case up to 5 years ago. So when 5 years ago, I met people say, like, I would love to have my little ranch out there somewhere, 20 acres, 40 acres, but I can only use it on the weekend because Monday morning I got to be back in the office. And now, if they work from home, all they need is internet access. And 5 years ago, there was no internet access out there. Today there is with Starlink. So these technology things, so the work from home and the technology has opened up rural America massively. And as a result, these two kind of properties, like the Infill Lots, the Path of Growth and the larger acreage, is absolutely freaking on fire. People have bought RVs like crazy. They want to park their RV out there. They want to have fun. They spend weeks on this piece of land just working out of their RV with solar panels, and then they come back home. And the fourth kind of property we now focus on is actually more recently, I've started getting into that, is larger tracts of land close to the city or even in the city for development, land development. We never used to do land development, but for the last couple of years now, I'm involved in multiple land entitlement projects. One of them we have on a contract right now for $8.3 million. And once it's fully entitled, and the city already gave the okay that they want to, the indication that they want to prove it, it's going to be worth $12 million.
Wow!
And so that's a quick four. That's a three. What is that? A 3.5, everything included, $3.5 million profit on a land deal. And that land deal came from students of us. So our students now get to partner with us on these deals because we have put together the expertise of the land development, of the land entitlement, and the students are bringing the deal. So now we can partner up, and the students involved in that deal, they're probably going to walk away with somewhere close to $1 million off that deal.
Amazing.
Without putting their own money in, without having anything at risk, simply by finding the deal and bringing it to us.
Not only that, they're part of a community, right? So can you talk about your community, your structure when it comes to your education business, which I know is huge? I mean, we've known each other now for quite a few years, and I know what you've built just on our conversations. Can you tell our audience what that community looks like?
Yeah, we've built a great community, a very giving community. It goes along our core values of we care more, we go all in, and we want to be transformational. So basically, we have built a couple of Facebook groups. One particular one is the Land Profits Nation. And the profits, the S is a $sign. So if you look in Facebook, Land Profit Nation or Land Profits Nation, with the S is a $sign, you'll find us. There's like 20-something thousand people in that group. Lots of engagement. We do like weekly free coaching in that group. We're doing weekly trainings in that group. We're doing going live in that group. We're doing sometimes we're doing like 5 days, an hour and a half of full-blown training inside of there. And then, of course, when people engage us or work with us, hire us for some training or coaching or so on, then they get to be in their separate coaching group, separate Facebook group, and they get to be like around us literally 5 days a week. One or two of our programs have 5 days a week group coaching where we have a rotating list of presenters come that are all full-time land investors that share what they do. Some of our programs are one-on-one with some of the top land flippers in the world. But most importantly, but for example, what makes us different is that we even have somebody on staff that constantly checks in on the students, that goes in like, okay, we haven't seen you show up in one of these sessions for a while. What's going on? What do you need? What's happening in your life? And so because we have optimized our company for impact, meaning that I don't need to do coaching for financial reasons. I got my land business, I got my apartment complexes, I got all this kind of stuff. I'm doing this as a legacy game for my wife, or we're doing this as a legacy game, my wife and I, in order to really make a difference in this world out there. And as a result, we have extra team members that we spend money on to make sure that nobody gets left behind in our community and nobody gets left behind in our programs.
I love it, man, and I've seen it. I mean, I've seen you travel with your wife and your daughter, and I seen you. I follow you through your whole journey in Spain when you did the walk.
Yeah.
I
Camino de
forget the name.
Santiago.
Yes, yes.
Camino de Santiago, yeah.
I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, my friend Jack is doing this thing. He's walking, and he's like, oh, yeah, they do this. Like, he told me the whole story behind it. I actually went to Spain this year with my wife for my birthday. I love to spend my birthday in an area of the world, in a different area of the world every year. And this year, it just happened to be Spain. Now, how many people do you think you guys have trained in your company for student wise?
I don't. I actually have asked that question to my team just the other day to do like a list. Give me like an overall all of all times. It's probably something like 30,000 or so, or 20,000, 30,000. But with that said, what that really always calls out when people hear that, they're like, "Well, Jack, that means there's like 30,000 people out there doing this now." No, it doesn't. Like the hard part is to tell how many people are actually doing something with it, because like many people buy a home study course and don't even open it. That's like really stupid, but some people
Yeah.
do that, and many people also use the land business as a stepping stone for other businesses because they also have that itch that you had itch. So, for example, two of our students, they enrolled in our coaching program when they were in college. So they scrapped their money together. They bought coaching. They made something like $600,000 in the first year doing coaching with us. But then the next year they probably made $1 million or something. But then they came, just like you, they came across land and looked at it as like, why do I just wholesale it? Why don't I just develop it? Why don't just build on it? Why do I do value? Why don't I do value add on it? And now they don't do land flips anymore at all, but they're custom home and town and really cool modern townhome developers in Tampa, Florida. So they no longer do land deals, but we got them to start into real estate, right? And I know a lot of people. I got an email not too long ago from one of our Hall of Fame students. That's a lady that was a waitress in a bar, and she never made more than like $2,000 a month. But again, she joined our coaching, and she did 22 deals in the first 6 months. And then, I mean, they graduate and they disappear into the world out there. And then, like 3 years later, she comes back and she's like, "Hey, Jack, I just want to let you know I'm retired now. I stopped doing land deals because I made several $1 million. I invested it well. I'm just sitting on my cash and I'm sitting on here. I bought myself a little place on the beach and I'm just enjoying life." So not all the 30,000 people are still doing land deals. Some have made enough money to retire. Some have used this as a stepping stone for something else. Some just bought a home study course, never did anything with it. But I estimate that probably about 3,000 to 5,000 people of the people we taught are out there actively doing deals. And that is still nothing compared to the 46 million pieces of land we have in the United States and the fact that we have over 3,000 counties. So in other words, like there's like 1 to 2 people per county in the United States doing land deals. So it's still a ground floor opportunity.
To me, real estate is a stepping stone for many other things, right?
Yeah, it is.
And the thing is, when we get into real estate, we see it as the ultimate vehicle. Like, I'm going to be a real estate investor and this is going to set me free, which in many cases it will. Okay. You can actually go bankrupt today, and with your knowledge, within 6 months to a year, you're already back on track on bringing multiple, millions of dollars. But in my case, and I know it has been your case as well, it has been a huge stepping stone into what comes next, right? Which, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. You've done commercial. You got houses that are rented. You have your own education company. But my question to you is, what fulfills you the most out of all those different lanes that you have?
It's a difficult question to answer because each has its own fulfillment. So having a business is one of the, and building a business to scale is, and my business is not huge. I mean, it's big in our space, but it's nothing compared to like Amazon, nothing compared to like real big 100, 200, 500 million, $1 billion businesses. It's nothing compared to that, of course. But it's still, I mean, we have a team. We have a team of like 35 team members in our company. That's and that requires departments and department heads and things like that. Building a business like that is probably the single most crucial thing you can do for your own personality, the personal development. Because there's a saying that I heard many years ago and I didn't understand it. And today I 100% believe in it, which is that your business will never outgrow your mindset. Your business will never outgrow your personal growth. Like if you grow as a person, as a leader, as a manager, as a character individual, that's when your business will grow, and it will only grow as much as you have grown. So I thoroughly enjoy the personal growth, even though it comes with a lot of pain and struggle, and it's not comfortable growing, right? It's always uncomfortable. You only grow when you're outside of your comfort zone. But I thoroughly enjoy that, and I'm very proud of what I have accomplished for myself as a growth, as a leader of our company, a leader of our family, as a dad, and so on and so forth. So that's one end. Obviously, so by just sheer growing the business, you have to go to multiple metamorphoses, and you have to shed your skin and keep growing, and that's hugely rewarding. Just nobody knows about that, just to myself. Right. The second thing is I'm super excited and grateful, obviously, and it's super amazing to see all these students succeed and these people retire and these people like fly their parents in from India, business class, which they never would have been able to do otherwise. People going from desperate to living their best lives. People going from high-powered attorneys, but literally told me, one high-powered attorney told me, like, Jack, if I have to be an attorney for another 5 years, I think I'm going to have a heart attack. And a year later, they made 400 grand, quit his job as a partner in the law firm, moved to Mexico and does deals from Mexico with his family, with his wife now in the United States, and lives a life on the beach, works 3-4 hours a day. Like, this is so freaking great, so freaking great and so rewarding to see that we have changed hundreds of people's lives at the $1 million level, and thousands and people's lives at a substantial level of $10,000, $15,000, $50,000, $100,000 level. But I know we have made multiple hundred millionaires. That's hugely rewarding. And then also rewarding is being able to just live the life that I live on my own. Like you're right. Last year I took 3 months and went to Europe. Now, first I put a backpack on my back and I walked for 35 days through Spain and that Camino de Santiago, which is a pilgrimage. And basically, in those 35 days, I attended one business meeting on day 32. That's it. Or day 27. That's when I attended a business meeting. That's it. The entire time, the team ran everything on their own, right? Without me having to be involved. That is beautiful. But then what's even more beautiful is that at the end, my family, my wife and daughter joined me in Santiago de Compostela in Spain. And then we went to Portugal, and we went to Greece, and then we went to Turkey, and then we went to Switzerland, went to Germany, and went to Italy, and went to France, and spent another 2 months. I went to England and Ireland, and we spent another 2 months in Europe just traveling around as a family and bonding as a family, being together with my wife and daughter 24/7, which some people might think it's a nightmare. To us, it's paradise. We absolutely love it. We're in the same hotel room. We're from breakfast to dinner together. We laugh our butts off all day long. We have just the best time. And I'm just so grateful and thankful and proud that these businesses allow us to do this, and that we were able to create a life like that. So every aspect has its reason to be grateful and be proud.
I love it, man. I'm following your footsteps when it comes to keeping the family together and traveling together around. one of the things I told my kids, because we're moving to Venezuela basically, and they're having a tough time, man, because they're in that age. Maximo is 9 and Manuela is 6, and they're in that age where they think their friends are the world. And oh my God, I'm not gonna go to the same school with my friends and all that. But I said, look, here's the trade-off. I promise you, next summer, we're going to travel all over Europe. We're going to go to Spain. And my son already has a list of all the roller coasters he wants to go because he loves roller coasters for a reason. My daughter hates them, but my son loves them. And I said, write them down. We're going to go there and we're going to have a great time. And, you know, I believe in that. I believe in bonding together as a family. I believe in having creating memories because we can make millions of dollars, Jack, and what do we take when we die?
Yeah.
Nothing. None of it. It all stays back. It's only our soul what goes into the next life one way or another. I don't know what that looks like, um, but let's
But
get
too
back
many
into
people
real estate.
use. I hear. I 100% agree with you. And that's why we live also too. Like every summer we go travel, as I mentioned, and every fall break and every winter break. Our business is like right here. It's my daughter. She's a senior in high school. This is her school schedule. When that school schedule comes out, we plan our year. We basically block off every single vacation that she has, and that is like no go, no matter what. Come hell or high water. We're not available for business during that time. We're simply taking that time and we're traveling around, and that's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 weeks just during the school year, plus another month or 2 months in summer. That's basically what we do every year. But there's a lot of people that also misunderstand that saying that you just said. There are a lot of people use it as an excuse to just spend all the money they have like there's no tomorrow and not plan for the future. And I think there's a balance between two of them. Like I fully expect, like one of the things I do with the money we make is we heavily invest in our health. So like we heavily invest, we go get deep blood tests done. I paid up to $7,500 for a blood test that has 400 different markers, and it told me all kinds of different things. Like for example, I was hypoglycemic, and so basically, if I have sugar, my blood sugar crashes 20 minutes later, and I start shaking. Well,
Yeah.
I realized that instead of medication, I simply need chromium, a 25-cent pill from Amazon a day, one pill a day, and it helps the chemicals, helps the situation. And now all of a sudden it doesn't happen anymore. Like
Wow.
I spend a lot of money and time on getting my health right and those things because I want to live for a long time. I want to live to 107, 120, and with all the medical advancements, there's a good chance that we might actually be living to 150. So if there's a realistic chance that we live to 150, I don't want to blow all the money that I make right now. I want to invest in myself because what that means is that even if my lifespan doesn't go up, my health span is going to go up, which means that I'm not going to be done with life at 65 and then just go retire and watch TV and die at 77. I'm going to probably in the shape of my life and mentally fit until I'm 85.
Right.
So that means I need to prepare financially for a longer life, and I need to up my skills today that I'm in the prime of my life. I'm 55. I'm in the prime of my life. I need to do whatever I can, invest in myself, invest in my income abilities, invest in my skills, invest in my knowledge, so that I can continue living a life of abundance and not just blow it because who knows, I might die tomorrow. So with that said, at the same time, make sure you don't just work and you actually smell the roses. And we're doing that intensively too.
I love it. And Jack, to be honest with you, that is the main reason why I'm moving to Venezuela. Main reason is drastically reduce my cost of living, number one, because I know I can repurpose that money for something else that gives me more freedom, that gives me more time with my family, that allows me to grow my business over there exponentially I'm younger than you are by like I'm 47, so 48, fuck, I forgot, 1978, whatever that is. So but that's the thing, at some point you don't even care how old you are anymore. You I feel pretty young. I'm actually getting in my best shape ever right now.
Awesome.
Because I'm doing a lot of fasting, I'm doing a lot of walking, I'm lifting a lot of weights, and that's my main goal, is to focus on me And yeah, we'll continue to do deals. We'll continue to run our agency and all those things. But I'm following those footsteps, right? So let's get back into land flipping for a minute. So
Sure.
AI, we're in the world of AI today, and we were talking about this offline, and you started going about it. I said, no, hold that thought. Like I don't want to talk about it before the podcast. How have you incorporated AI, which is still fairly new? It's for a lot of people, they don't even know what ChatGPT is. How have you
Yeah.
guys incorporated AI into land flipping?
We have heavily incorporated it already. So the moment that ChatGPT came up, I have to admit I did not know it was that this existed until it came out. Once it came out, I looked at it and I realized immediately that this is a 100% game changer, not just for our business, but for the world. Like in the next 5 years, probably a third of jobs in the United States will be eliminated by AI. Now, new jobs will be created. You can become an AI specialist and all kinds of stuff, but we're the next industrial revolution. It's through AI, robotics, and all these different things like that. A lot of people are going to be on the losing side of that. Which again, why I urge everyone listening to this: you gotta have a plan B. You cannot just rely on your plan A. So what we looked at it though, and this is like, okay, we have a coaching company, and we also have a CRM software. And we're like, we always obsess about how do we make what we offer better? How do we make more people successful? How do we make it easier for people to be successful? So we looked at our CRM and basically says like, okay, where can AI play a role here? So we laid out the entire business process of land flipping. Like you go select an area, you go, this is the business process in just 30 seconds. You go select an area, you go identify properties and download them into your system. You do send out direct mail, either with direct offers or just with a friendly letter. If you do a friendly letter, they call you back, you talk to them, or you have somebody talk to them. You do value analysis, you make offers on the property, you follow up, you get the deals under contract. Once you have the deal under contract, you put them on the market and sell them. It's that simple. There's no tenants, toilets, termites, no repairs, no repair estimates, none of that there. This is the base business process. Then we took that business process and said like, okay, where can AI come in? Very first part is, how do I select the best properties? Right there, boom. We created AI tools or integrated with AI tools that allows us to pick the properties that were, for example, one of the things is that properties have an assessed value and a market value. And often the difference between assessed value and market value in some states is not much. Like in Florida, assessed value is 85, 90% of market value. But in North Carolina, that can be a huge difference. In Arkansas, it's a humongous difference. In Arizona, there can be a big difference between the two of them. But if somebody owns the property for 20 years, and every year they get a value notice from the county that says your property is worth 20 grand, your property is worth 20 grand. The next year, your property is worth 20 grand. And they keep getting that. What do they think their property is worth? If they've never gone out there, they live far away, they don't care about the property, they've owned it for 40 years, or they have inherited the property. They think their property is worth 20 grand. Well, if we could figure out what this property is really worth systematically with AI, couldn't we go and then we can cherry pick the properties where the assessed value is here, but the market value is here? Well, we have figured it out. Actually, friends of us have figured it out, and we have now integrated into their software, into our software, fully integrated in it. So now you can go use our software and you can go in there and say like, I want 1,000 properties where the assessed value is at least $50,000 more than where the market value is at least $50,000 more than the assessed value. Because if that's the case, then I can buy those things almost at assessed value, mark it up by 20 grand, sell it very quickly, out of bargain in the market, and make money. Then we have, on top of it, we have integrated with a software that does, where we now check against socioeconomic kind of factors, like how motivated are they in selling? Because if they just lost their job, if they just got foreclosed on, their car got repossessed, and they just declare bankruptcy, chances are and they own a piece of land, chances are they're interested in selling that land to make some money. So guess what? Now we can run this against this called the Betty score. We run this against the Betty score, and now this is both our AI systems. So now we have basically integrated our software into AI systems. But then going on, we built our own ChatGPT, our own large language model that now pulls in from Zillow and from a nationwide database anything you need about comparables, about values of the property, what's around it, and and goes in there, and basically you just give it the state, county, and parcel number, and it gives you every piece of data that you ever need about that property. What hospital is close by, what the main roads are close by, what's its zoned, what you can do with it, how much you can subdivide it in, what's the market value. Everything is given to you in a matter of seconds. It takes like you type it in, you press enter, it thinks for 3 seconds, and it comes back with a map, with a picture, with the surrounding comparables, comes back with everything there. And then you just simply say, okay, copy that over into my system. It fills up all your database with information. From there, you go, want to make the offer. The offer template comes up, suggests what offer you want to make. You say, I want to take this offer. It's integrated with a data house. You submit it to integrated with a mailing house. You submit it to the mailing house. The mailing house sends the offer out for you because we make our offers in writing. And the same thing, you can even ask it to create listings for you, to generate pictures for you. We basically taken this process and created an AI tool or integrated into an AI tool all around. And as a result, we've basically now made what would take somebody 10 hours. Now it takes you 1 hour to do. And as a result, you can 10x your business in the same time using AI tools. And we have become the AI engine of the land space. So yes, we're using AI massively, and we're constantly developing one. Now we're constantly I just gave the go-ahead yesterday to develop internally an AI engine and an AI bot that responds. If sellers call back, instead of having a call center, you pick up the phone. Now the bot is going to answer the phone and just ask questions about the property and feed it right into your CRM system. And then so that means that you send out mailers. People call you back. You don't even have to pick up the phone. You're with your family playing golf. You're watching the theater show by your daughter. You're watching your daughter dance ballet. You're watching your daughter, I have a daughter, so I keep talking about daughters. You watch your kids play soccer, whatever it may be. And in the background, deals are coming in. And when you come home, you just simply say, okay, on those 10 deals, give me the market value. On those 10 deals, give me the offer amount you recommend. Those 10 deals, go send out the offer. And you do that in 10 minutes once you're back. It's a game changer of what we created there right now.
That's crazy. I can only I love how you said you can replace like people, VAs or call centers and things like that. But me thinking, okay, I have a VA company, right? And I have a bunch of VAs sitting in my office. What if I now integrate those tools with my VAs? How much more can I exponentially grow now? Because you still need a human looking behind these things, like maybe double checking that the numbers are correct, or making sure that you want to offer on something that you want to offer and not make an offer on something you really don't want to touch for whatever reason. There still have to be that human component of maybe common sense or whatnot, right? But I love it. I can't wait until I see all those things, Jack.
Yeah, you can definitely. I mean, you still, and for foreseeable future, you still need human beings. But now the human beings can be trained on using the AI tools, and the AI tools does kind of like the thinking, and the humans just does the double checking. And more than anything, the human can now in the same time do much more. So your VAs can become even more profitable for the owners of the companies that they work for.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, one more question before we wrap up. I know you have another meeting coming up. What do you do for personal development?
I read a lot. I think I watch a lot of YouTube videos, but not just cat videos. I mean, I'm talking, but I get myself informed. Like I listen to several really good podcasts. And more than anything, I like to be like, there's two aspects of that. One is more like being informed about the world, which is not personal development, but it helps you with personal development and thinking thing, because I don't watch much of the news. Instead, I watch balanced podcasts. And if I watch the news, I watch half an hour Fox and half an hour CNN and half an hour MSNBC, because I want to see what different sides of the story are basically telling me. And it's amazing how the same thing is being portrayed in completely different ways. But it makes you understand both sides, and it makes you be able to relate to both sides, because no side has the absolute answer to everything. It's always a balanced thing, and there's good points on each side. So I'm just going to say that. So with that said, And then the same thing I do for podcasts. Now, personal development, I meditate. Like this morning, I sit down. I get up, get my daughter out of bed. I mean, she's 18. She can get herself out of bed, but I only have her for 9 more months. So I'm like waking her up and give her some kisses and tickle her, and she gets annoyed, and then she gets up, and that's all a game. It's all fun. And then we make breakfast. We have breakfast together as a family, and then I grab a cup of coffee and I just sit down on the couch. I read a little book. I do a meditation, and it kind of gets me grounded for the day. I do read some personal development and just also this business development and overall books. We do those kind of are the main things I do, and that's about it. Like there's not that much, but I think I do a little bit less of it now than I used to do. When I got started, I would devour motivational self-development books, Tony Robbins books. I would go to Tony Robbins seminars. I would go to all kinds of like inner work seminars. And even right now, like I'm about to go do some hypnosis work to work on like your inner childhood traumas, which I don't know if I have many. I think I have a pretty even-keeled guy, and then grew up my parents are married 58 years now. So wow. It's in a kind of healthy family overall, but there's still work to do. There's still things to uncover, why you get triggered by certain things, and because it, again, as I said, if you don't grow, your business won't grow. So I'm constantly looking on ways to grow, and at this point, I think there's the next level of growth I need to do is I need to become even better leader, to hold more and be able to manage a larger company. Because once you've built that capacity, the company is actually going to grow. It's not going to grow first, and then, or if it does, it falls back. It always falls back to your own leadership level. And if you're not a good leader, then your company's never going to grow. So I'm focusing on those kind of things right now because I want to be able to take that company even a step higher.
Amazing. Brother, how can people get a hold of you or your company, or if I want some coaching, where do I go?
Yeah, so the easiest way, if you want to learn about doing this land flipping deals from home without tenants, toilets, and termites and so on, you can simply go to, it's right there on the screen, it's like to Land Profit Fun, like having fun. And when you go there, you can download a 30-day blueprint, which is a PDF that basically shows you exactly how to set up the land business. It gives you really a lot of detail of how this works, what's behind it, how you set it up, and it gives you a 30-day action plan on how to start towards your first deal. And that's 100% for free. So you can just download the Land Profit Fund. If you want to hear overall more information, you can always go to landflippingclass.com. You can go to Jack Bosch on YouTube. I watch my YouTube channel. You can find me everywhere under Jack Bosch. You can watch my podcast at the Jack Bosch Show. There's many different places you can find out about us. But for the land strategy, go to landprofitfund.com.
Brother, thank you so much for being here today and giving us an hour of your time. I know it's very valuable. I appreciate you, Jack. And guys, go find Jack Bosch everywhere. He just mentioned podcasts, YouTube. Go to his website, download the free tools he's got. And if you're on the fence on whether you want to do real estate on the single family side or the land side, go explore land first. Is one thing I wish I would have done earlier in my career as a real estate investor, because it would have saved me a ton of headaches, and it would have saved me millions of dollars, to be honest with you, Jack, if I would just stick to land. But I just didn't know any better, right? So the universe kind of like took me to a different path, and today
you did well, man. You did well. You needed to scratch that itch, so you needed to, and if you do, that's fine. And like. That's okay. You did well.
I had to. And I pretty much scratched every itch there is when it comes to real estate. And I want the simple itch now, which is I want to do the dumbest, easiest thing there is, which is flip contracts, not having to worry about toilets and termites and things of that nature. So I'm actually, as soon as I get back down to South America, we're going to start a whole approach to land. Actually, it's my goal, and
awesome.
And even though we already do land, but you know, we're starting that approach. But
yeah,
with that being said, guys, go find my friend Jack Bosch. He will help you. He has turned a lot of people into success, and his programs, also his coaches. He's got an amazing community where not only you're going to meet like-minded people, but you're going to be supported by those that are, that want to help you grow. So, Jack, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.